Cavaliers now 10-6. People want me to take the gloves off Evan Mobley or take the gloves off when it talks to Evan Mobley. You don't wear gloves out there.
Maybe that's why he's shooting so poorly.
You allowed to wear gloves in the NBA, Tone?
Gloves?
Let's go to Justin Termine.
I remember Dwayne Wade was wearing full armor from head to toe and was just jumping into and he was getting calls. They won a whole NBA Finals like that.
Oh, he looked like Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
He might as well have been wearing a cape. Hello?
Yeah, how you doing?
We're doing well.
Termine.
Justin Termine joins us right now, Sirius XM NBA Radio. He's the host of NBA Today with Eddie Johnson. Probably the closest show to us when it comes to taking personal shots at each other on the air.
Yeah, let's raise the level here. I want to hear more personal shots, Justin.
How long have you guys been on the air together?
We've been on the air about 11 years. How about you and Anthony? How long have you guys
9.
been
So we're there before us. Yeah. So I have to give them the proper credit. There you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, and give me the proper credit as well. You say Sirius XM NBA Radio. I'm now on NBA TV as well. So throw that out there.
Yeah, what channel?
NBA TV.
Yeah, what channel? It doesn't help if I can't find you. See, I'm on Channel 8 here in Cleveland. They just hit 8, and there I am. You see how that works?
No, I'm not in Cleveland. I'm international. It's Channel 8 out of Cleveland International. Can you see that in Italy, in Australia, in China?
The Fox 8 CLE Plus app, you can do a lot of other things, as well as 19 Cleveland CLE 19 on their app, with Amazon 19 and on Rock and all that other stuff. You don't impress me.
Well, I'm not trying to impress you. More importantly, I'm trying to impress the girls of Cleveland. Like that would be nice.
Yeah, but but there was a listener one time, and she was tweeting at you, and she was definitely willing to meet up with you, and then you were like, I'm a little bit afraid. You were all nervous.
Well, I'm going to travel 700 miles to meet one of your listeners. I don't think that's going to happen. She wants to come to me. That's fine.
What's the furthest you've ever traveled for something like that?
No, I've never even been offered anything, 2 minutes away. So,
all right. Should I be taking off the gloves when it comes to Evan Mobley here?
Well, I don't think so. What are you so upset about? His shooting percentage dipping. I heard you kind of mention that.
Well, I'm not upset, but there's
more threes.
I woke up to a bunch of people going like, even my buddies texting me like, when are you gonna start ripping this guy? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, stop carrying water? Like my buddy Scott, stop carrying water for him. Like, I don't think I'm carrying water for him, but he is 5 years into his career. I don't think he's very comfortable with offensive change. I don't think they're very comfortable with some of the offensive changes that they're trying out right now. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and go crazy 16 games into their changes that they're trying to make, because I think that this is an effort to make them better in the postseason. Is it not, Justin?
Yeah, and I think, I talked to Nick Nurse a couple of years ago, and he was like, all right, and this is before they traded DeMar DeRozan, who he never got the chance to coach, but essentially what they kept doing is the same thing Cleveland is doing now, where they're hitting their head come postseason time, despite the fact they're dominating the regular season, and Nick Nurse was like, hey, we're going to sacrifice some games in the regular season in order to change some stuff up, experiment, that way we get to the postseason, and we'll be able to, give you a couple of different looks, and it's, to some extent, it's what Donovan Mitchell said a couple of days ago. It's like we didn't face any adversity last year because they had a 15-game win streak, a 12-game win streak, another 12-game win streak. They really cruised, and once they did face some adversity, they were ill-equipped to handle it. So I think it's okay to get a little adversity and, fiddle around with the offense a little bit early on in the season.
Yeah, and Justin, obviously they have not had Darius Garland, and as much as I have complained about Darius come playoff time, regular season, he's sensational and a huge engine for them. And without him, it's really tough to evaluate where the Cavs truly are and whether or not they can be better than last year.
Yeah, Max Strus is going to start for them too, correct? Right? I'm assuming he goes back into the starting lineup. So you're missing 2 starters. You're missing 2 of your 5 starters. So I think that plays a major role. Plus, Lonzo Ball's just getting his legs underneath him again. Clearly he struggled so far, but I think he does do a lot of things that you need and changes things up. He's a nice change of pace. So, I'm not too concerned about it. The 3-point shooting isn't there right now. That's probably the biggest. So I can't explain the rebound rebounding. Maybe you guys can for me. I feel like they were great on the boards last year. They've struggled this year on that end. The 3-point shooting, that can come and go, and they've had a rough start to the season with that, even though they're jacking them up more than anybody else in the league. So I think that's the biggest difference. You're taking a lot of threes. You're not making them. Last year, you're taking a lot of threes, and you're making a lot of threes.
Justin Termine joining us right now on the hotline. Is there anything that's happened in the Eastern Conference that has changed your thought about the hierarchy?
I mean, I don't think you can ignore the way that the Pistons are playing. Like Toronto, I don't necessarily take for real because I think they're doing it with defense, but there's nobody on offense that I think can take over a game come playoff time. They're kind of doing it by ensemble. With Detroit, I mean, they got two guys that look like they're absolute studs. Cade Cunningham, you could make the argument. Now, I still want to give that to probably Donovan Mitchell, maybe Jalen Brunson in regards to the second best player in the Eastern Conference. But I don't think if somebody wanted to call up your show and say, hey, I think Cade Cunningham is the second best player in the East behind Giannis, you could call him an absolute moron. You'd have to hear him out. So they have a guy that can take over a postseason game and certainly be the best player in a playoff series if they were to meet the Cavs. And then Jalen Duren is an absolute beast inside. So, yeah, I think you have to take the Pistons seriously. Outside of that, nothing has changed my mind with what I've seen.
Justin Termine joining us here on the show. Do you think there's too many threes being taken in the NBA now? We didn't get a nasty email, but we got an email from somebody who went to the Cavs-Houston Rockets game yesterday. They were appalled.
Well, I mean, that's been that way the last couple of years. I actually think it's come down a little bit. This year, and I think one of the reasons was Oklahoma City didn't win with the 3-ball last year. Indiana, the same thing. I felt those guys played a different style than Boston the year before. If you wanted to complain after Boston won the title, because listen, I'm sitting here, I can see the Boston Garden from my window. They take too many threes. So you want to complain about the Celtics taking too many? That's fine. But
congratulations on all your success.
Yeah, thank you. And Cleveland takes too many as well. So you guys take too many threes as well. It's not necessarily appetizing on the eye.
So that's going to end up hurting us in the postseason, right?
I mean, listen, the Celtics won when they did it, but there's just too much variance. I don't think if you have so much talent, you should be leading the league in threes. I think that's something you have to do when you're not as talented and hope that you get hot and then you beat the more talented team. So, I don't think the Cavs necessarily should lead the league when they have as much talent as they do, especially when you have guys like Evan Mobley, you got Jared Allen, you got guys that, Donovan Mitchell can score at the rim. So I don't like the idea of relying on it so much.
All right, I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I saw you quote tweeted something Steve Kerr said that he's alarmed about the soft tissue injuries. But
what's the matter?
Well, Justin, 200 games. I'm reading Tom Haberstroh right now. Stars have missed over 200 games this season due to injury or illness, doubling the total we saw at this point 2 years ago. What do you make for this? How big of a problem is this for the league?
Well, I mean, it's a big problem when guys aren't playing. And I think my issue is more the messenger than it is actually the message that's being sent. Sometimes it gets lost because Steve Kerr complains every single day. So I'm am I willing if Eric Spoelstra wants to say something, or if Kenny Atkinson out there in Cleveland wants to say something, Rick Carlisle is the head of the coaches association, fine. It kind of gets lost when Steve Kerr's doing it. Also, Steve Kerr's got one of the older teams in the NBA. Was Steve Kerr complaining 7 years ago when his team led the league constantly in pace with Golden State, but Steph Curry was 26 instead of 36, 37 years of age? It's an issue, but it's also your job to manage your roster so guys don't get hurt. In baseball, did they change the rules and go from 9 innings to 6 innings? No, they just said, all right, we're going to pitch our starters around 5 innings or 90 pitches, 100 pitches instead of 125 in 9 innings like we used to do back in the 60s. So you have to change and find a way to utilize. You can't just go, shorten the season, shorten the games. It's the NBA's fault. Steve Kerr's complaining about 4 games in 5 nights and back-to-backs like we used to have, and then he's going, but it also stinks to have it every other day. Okay, so what does Steve Kerr want to do then? What's his solution outside of shortening the season, which is never going to happen because guys aren't going to give money back, including Steve Kerr?
Justin Termine joining us on the show. Well, the Cavs were fined $100,000 for not putting guys out there.
Like, I was on the air when I saw that, and why is Cleveland saying on their report, like, rest for Evan Mobley, rest for Donovan Mitchell? Because in the same exact city last night, Golden State did it right after Steve Kerr essentially admitted he was going to rest guys, but they listed Jimmy Butler out with a back, Draymond with an illness, and Steph with an ankle. So at least they put next to their names like, maybe they'll get fined anyway. I don't know, but at least they came up with like these fake injuries. Cleveland's like, yeah, rest for Mobley, rest for Donovan Mitchell. So once they did that, you knew they were going to be fined because that's against the rules.
Well, so I see people saying today's NBA stars are soft. And like the Kawhi Leonard, he's the example everyone's going to bring up. And he has had serious injuries basically throughout his whole career. But you never knew if you were going to get Kawhi Leonard. If you bought tickets to a game, are you getting to see Kawhi Leonard? Last night, tickets to the Cavs game they're basically giving them away. And I talked to some people that I was sitting around and they're like, yeah, the problem is nobody knows who's going to play from night to night. We didn't know if Kevin Durant was going to play tonight or not, even though he was never on an injury report. So how does the NBA fix this? Do you think it's the players that are soft, or do you think these are the teams that are so worried about playoff time, having their guys healthy, that they're the ones doing the load managing?
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I feel like it's a combination of the two because I feel like any player that wants to play that's a relatively big name can play 82 games, and the organization can't say anything because they have so much power. So if Donovan Mitchell's like, you're not holding me out of this game against Miami last week, then they're going to keep him in the game because then Donovan Mitchell can go like, all right, well, I'll go find an organization that'll allow me to play and do whatever I want. So I don't think these organizations, I think they just say it's our decision and the player has no say, so they protect the player from being criticized. And I understand times have changed, but like my question to Steve Kerr and anybody else that's like, oh, this is the hardest it's ever been. And we talked about this yesterday on my show, and maybe you can answer this for me, okay? Because Steve Kerr keeps citing the pace. Well, the pace was faster back in the day, all the way up till 1989. Now, this is the fastest it's been since 1989, but just about every single season from like 1960 through 1989, the pace was faster, okay? So let's go back to 1960, where the pace was basically 126 possessions per game. Now it's 100, okay? So it was much faster back then by like 33% or whatever that is. I'm not good at math, but it was faster back then. Then, for example, Bill Russell played 5 consecutive games in 5 different nights and played, 53 in one of those, 53 minutes in one of them, 48 multiple times. The least amount of minutes he played was 43. Plus, Bill Russell has worse shoes, worse travel, not only worse hotels. Some hotels he's being told he's, not even allowed to be in because of his skin color. So mentally, that's taxing as well. Yet he's able to do it. Now, again, they didn't have as much power to complain back then as they do now. But can somebody tell me how what they're doing right now is harder than Bill Russell, what he was doing in
I will tell you. I can tell you what's harder. Yeah, I could tell you. The guys, they've done the math on this. They're running so much more because there's so much more space to cover. And go watch some of those games in the 80s. They're just running down. They're jogging down. Like they're not when we're saying pace as if all pace is created equal. This game is way more taxing in games.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. You got to go out and guard the 3-point line, whereas you didn't back then. So that's one aspect of it. But then I just listed about 7 other things that were more difficult back then. So there's one thing that's a little bit more difficult. But again, you're supposed to be a better athlete. Human evolution.
But also back then, every team had a guy, they called it the pivot. Every team had a guy in the pivot, and they'd throw the ball down to him. He'd throw it back out to the 3-point line. They'd throw it back down to the guy.
Pass 4 times.
And it was just that back and forth. And I'm like, compare that to today when, as a defender, you have got to chase Steph Curry around a staggered screen. Then when they get you out of whack and there's an offensive rebound and a quick kick out, then you got to sprint to the other corner. And it's like no compare. You're not seeing that at all in the 80s.
You don't have to. James Harden doesn't do that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Guys do it. But yes, no. So I understand that. So that's like 1 or 2 things that yes are harder about today. But it was also very difficult then. What I'm saying is,
sounds like you just don't like your sport, Termine. Yeah. Sounds like you need to get off NBA radio and go follow something else.
I love football. I don't sit there and just say you just hate basketball. Just call yourself a basketball hater.
I absolutely despise it. It's why I attacked Steve Kerr yesterday for bringing up a negative when there's a bunch of positive stuff going on in the league right now.
Don't change
like
the
there's
subject.
a bunch of positive stuff, but Steve Kerr's got to point out the negatives every 5 minutes.
All right,
I'm in the
Termine.
media trying to talk about good stuff.
I got a negative. So you have come to the right place. I was at the game last night. There were like 4 or 5 stoppages because of challenges.
We don't have time for him to bitch about
Is it a take foul? Is it not a take foul? You talked about the 100 possessions each team has. Teams can routinely wipe off 20-point deficits because of three-point shooting. Why are we allowing any challenges in the first half? Who cares? Who cares?
I think it's a great idea. I think they should allow more challenges.
More?
I like the breakage in play. Oh, well, you want me to say I'm too negative? I'm being positive. I think this is all good for the league. But the other thing is, that's the time for these guys to rest. You're told, they got to go out and guard the three-point line. Blah, 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 blah. They're traveling more miles. All right, well, they also have these massive stoppages of play.
Fair point.
Which they didn't back in 1960. If somebody got slugged across the, eyebrow or the forehead, they just had to get up and continue playing without a break. So that's
I don't care who the ball, when somebody is defending and swipes at the ball and we're sitting there for 4 minutes determining if the ball went off the offensive player's fingertip, who cares? Just give the ball to the other team and go the other way. We're going to have 1,000 more possessions tonight. Who cares?
Well, I agree. Like, for example, you go back, like a fun little thing to do with like all the great plays in NBA history that would be wiped out and wouldn't be able to exist if you had the rules like they do today. My favorite play of all time, I think it's the greatest defensive play maybe in the history of the sport, is when Bird stole the ball from Isaiah. Like, that was a controversial play where the ball went out of bounds. If you go back, like, you probably don't even need to go back and look at it because it's so well documented you can remember. Like, it was like, who did that ball go off of? I still don't know if they got the call correct, and it really went off Detroit. Like, it's difficult to, or it really went off Boston. It's difficult to tell. You would have had a stoppage in play.
We'll watch it during the break, and we will come back and tell our listeners.
Fine, we got to go. Oh, we have to go. I hate to cut this off. By the way, you can watch him on Channel 325 on Spectrum.
I wanted to find out who the ball went on.
Justin, somebody on the YouTube chat found where NBA TV was. Channel 325 on Spectrum. There you go.
There you go. Congratulations. Now I got to work on Channel 8 out of Cleveland.
728 Breeze Line, 422 Charter, 363.
All right, Justin, goodbye.
Yeah, farewell.
Justin Termine, SiriusXM NBA Radio, the NBA Today with him and Eddie Johnson.